So, here we are with another interesting game, a very interesting game. Uh, More about the philosophy that it encourages than the actual gameplay itself. Although the gameplay itself is pretty good. We'll take a look at that in a moment. But first of all, I just want to go through the usual YouTube housekeeping. This video series is about playing games, mostly free games, and mostly web browser games on Itchio, because they are the easiest to get to with a couple of clicks, and then you're having a game experience. And I think there is some value in going through the existing games, filtering out those that are like demos and tests and so on, without much gameplay activity to actually take, and actually helping everyone find the ones that are actually good little games that we can play to entertain ourselves and have the experience. So that is my goal here. Any game that I present to you is one that I think is an interesting experience that is worth your clicks. So along those lines, if you like the videos and you like the possibly the game that I've shown to you, or just the effort involved, click the like button. If you want to see more suggestions, sorry, that's my phone. Click the button that the subscribe button. Sorry, my phone is now on silent. Yeah, so if you like the if you want to see more Itchio games and things like that, and also there is non-Itchio gameplay, click the subscribe button and ring that silly bell that who knows why it's there. And if you want to talk to me, leave me some comments. Or if you want to talk to other viewers, leave them some comments. The comments are always, in general, for YouTube, they help drive the video engagement, as I believe they call it in the algorithm world. But it's also a personal reward for me. I like to see what people have to say, and I like to talk back. And talking on the internet is an awesome thing, part of our modern world. Anyway, so now we have gone through all of that, let's talk about this actual game that I am showing you, that is called You Are Not the Player. Now, this game was made for a game criticisms course, which unfortunately we don't have access to. But that's fine, because we can deliver our own criticisms on the game, or at least the game design, the game concept. We can decide what the concept is. I think the game title is a strong suggestion here. But let us first of all look at the gameplay and gather some knowledge and some information here. So, you are not the player. You are just modular code and assets copied and pasted where it fit. Your actions do not matter. Just do what you're told. Okay, so now I've muted the tab because there is relentless music here. This is recording, yes. So let's try and maximize the screen out. We have frozen. We are this character who is an NPC in the slum area of this village, because everybody, it turns out, has been driven out by some kind of monsters. I think he used to be someone before the script. You see now, the other non-player characters have these little messages that they say that don't seem to be scripted, with the slightly unsettling suggestion that we are in fact sentient to some degree. Anyway, we have an instruction: go to the slums entrance, and a little dotted path to point us in the direction of where we need to go. And down here, in his mighty yellow beard and shiny blue and silver armor, is the hero. I think he has a red cloak. I think that's what's supposed to be on the right there. So that is the hero character that we are populating this world for. Anyway, so obeying our instructions like a good NPC, let's move closer and see what they have to say. The old man: hey, you look like a noble hero. It is I, John Hero. Yes, I am a very noble and incredibly humble hero. You, son, are the chosen one. I can feel it. Take this. It is the blade of the hero. You are the man who is to relinquish the monsters in our town and defeat King Evil. Yes, I am. Thank you, sir. And off they go to do the things. And as a good NPC, you follow. But, the hero heads off up into the town where we cannot follow. Because we are the NPC and is not to do heroic things. Instead, we have been given the instruction, go fish. So we are going to go fish. Hit space. Fishing is just a matter of dragging the hook, or if you prefer, the fish into each other. And these are two things that just you can control. And it makes the yellow bar go up. And this is us fishing as we wiggle the two things together. So we have successfully fished. Now we go and do some idle animation. And we just press 2 to fill the bar up, and we do some idling in front of, I assume it's meant to be our tent, or a tent anyway. And now we go and sweep. And sweeping involves pressing some numbers, for in this case, and we do the sweep animation, and the trash is cleared, making the slums a slightly better place, I suppose. Anyway, here we go off to the town entrance, because that is our new duty. And John Hero has returned. Let's see what we have to say. Are the evil monsters all gone from the town? Yes, sir. You can all move back in. Great heavens, thank the Maker you showed up when you did. Surely we couldn't have done anything ourselves. You know, aside from sweeping and fishing, we aren't capable of much. And we go into the town centre. And this is where I'm going to leave it, because there's not much more of the game left. It is still a little fun experience to play, so I do highly recommend it. Go and give it the game a heart for the developers to know that there is some attention has been applied to it. But I will say, if this thing can let me zoom out. Now we come to the criticisms part, which we can talk about just for a moment, because there is an idea here that I think is valuable both for game designers and for players, and that is investigating what makes a player character, what makes an NPC. The obvious answer there is of course the player character is the one controlled by the player, and the NPCs are the ones controlled by the game engine. But more than that, what makes the difference? Why can we not control an NPC and do NPC things? Of course we can, but does that make a good game? And there are some suggestions there that there is a certain attraction in that. I mean, the question rolls back to what is the idea of a game? What is the fundamental thing that makes a game a game? This is a question asked in a recent video with the telescope simulator, because that wasn't really a game. Although, was it? That is where this question comes from. And I was doing some research and looking up the definition of a game and what people thought it is. And I think a good summary of what I found is that the game offers you its own little contained world of some sort. So that's part one of what makes a game, is that it is a contained world, or at least in the context of augmented reality games, a sort of a contained set of references to the world. And then as the player character, you are given the tools to make changes to their world. Controlled changes, because the world isn't not infinite. It has certain sets of rules and constraints, often built around these tools that you are given to make the changes. And that is what differentiates the player character and the non-player characters. That the player character has the ability to make these changes for whatever reason. In most games, it's to to create a morally approved outcome in some way. In a few games, it's intentionally amoral or not moral. But I mean that is, I suppose, a better way to say is to make the changes to deliver an experience to the player. And we can't forget that the point of a game is the player. It is, here is this contained world. Here are some tools. The ultimate goal is for the player to go, that was a good experience. I am glad I had that experience. It's fun is easy to say, but I mean, certain things are fun on a meta level, like a really scary horror game. Being scared is not fun, but the after effects of being scared and of encountering and pushing through the fear, or enjoying the adrenaline that comes from the fear, that is fun. So the gameplay is not fun, but the effects around it are. Is an important distinction to make. For choosing what game to play, and for designing a game that you want to then offer to the others. So the player character is given the tools to adjust the outcome in this virtual world, and that is the difference between the player and the non-player character. Here is a set of changes that you can make, whereas the non-player characters wander around without making changes, which is where I think this little game actually fails. We have, as in theory, the non-player character, we have actually stopped the action here by not doing what we're told. We have the ability to not do what we're told, but in a game like Skyrim, for example, the player character can wander around and do things and make changes, even if a non-player character has broken, has stopped functioning. The game world continues. The non-player characters are just little motes within the world that follow sort of preordained paths. But then that rolls us back to the question: is that, would it be fun for a game to give us that ability? And people seem to think so, because here on the screen we see the sign potions, and that is of course a reference to a popular game that I've seen a couple of variations of, where you own a potion shop or an armor shop or something along those lines, and ostensibly the hero characters come in and buy things from you, but that is, they're just the heroes in the meta world. In the game world, which is your potion shop, again, you are the hero. You are the person with the agency to make changes, to allow or prevent certain outcomes. Within the perspective of the game world, the only way to really make an NPC game, which I think would be interesting, would be to have a meta world that you are part of, that you are as a character affected by, but have little agency to perform anything to change the outcomes that are occurring around you. Would that be fun? Yeah, maybe. I mean, it would be an experience depending on what actually happens in the game world. And I've always said I would love a game, like a first-person shooter game, like something like COD, where the world continues regardless, and the battles continue regardless, and you simply fit into the battles that are occurring, and can possibly affect the outcomes, or possibly not, depending on where you are and what you do. But you don't. The game makes a point of showing you that you are just a small cog in a very large machine. I think that would be a very interesting experience, and you actually have to get together with other players, obviously a multiplayer game, to make any significant changes. You have to work in concert, and work on the teamwork and things like that. I think that would be an amazing game, and there are certain games that are sort of along those lines, but not quite at the scales and the implementation that I'd like to see. There is one called, is it something like Project Winter, or future project, something like that, where I haven't tried it yet. I don't have the means to try it at the moment, but I am very, very interested and very excited by it, where the game concept is that there is this massive battle going on through largely automated systems and massive systems, and you are not the heroic character. You are simply a very small and fragile scavenger, and your goal is not to participate in the war. At least that's what the sort of the initial premise is, that you're just trying to survive in this blasted landscape of terrifying, massive, weapon systems that are being dropped in and engaging with each other, and you just have to try and avoid them, or occasionally nudge the battle away from where you're trying to do your scavenging or whatever. And that, I think, is a fascinating new idea in game design, in game approaches, that I would like to see more of. So I hope it does well, and I really want to play it when I can. But at the same time, it's important not to forget that games are this experience that gives us the ability to be the player character, to actually jump in there and do heroic things and save the day, and get the princess and all of that kind of stuff. It's important to remember that is the expected and the valuable experience of games, is to take us out of the drudgery of our daily life, and give us a little bit of, in the meta use of the word, some romance, some flair, some color to our days, and that is one of the really great and valuable powers of games. And possibly that's where the idea of an NPC game comes from, because maybe you are someone who has significant power over the real world. You are a big wig in a company or something, and maybe you just want a little bit of simple life. You want to play some Stardew Valley, and you don't want to fight off the monsters and save the day. You want to just water your plants and do something casual and self-oriented for a bit. So games can offer both of these things, and that's why games are so valuable and so powerful. Anyway, I think that is enough philosophical rambling. I hope you liked a little bit of the game. I hope the thoughts got your brain working, and I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.